Welcome to The Explainer. So, let's talk about Tantra. Today, we're diving into a book that puts forward a really counterintuitive, pretty radical take on this ancient practice. It's called Tantra, Discovering the Power of Pre-Orgasmic Sex. When most of us hear the word Tantra, our minds probably jump to better orgasms, maybe some kind of exotic positions, right? But this book just flips that whole script. It argues that where we see a technique for sexual enhancement, Tantra is actually a deep spiritual path. Where we think about positions, the real focus is on cultivating energy. And where the goal seems to be just a better orgasm, it's actually about union with the divine. It's a huge difference. So the book's first move is to just completely redefine the whole practice. It makes the case that Tantra is so much more than what happens in the bedroom. We're talking about one of the broadest, most comprehensive systems of spiritual practice in the world, stretching back over 4,000 years, and it actually includes all of yoga within it. And that leads us right to the book's central argument, that our own sexual energy isn't something to just be, well, spent. Instead, when you understand it and harness it, it becomes this incredibly powerful ally for your own spiritual transformation. The goal, then, isn't just about improving your sex life. The whole idea is to use that fundamental energy to fuel a journey toward enlightenment.
Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? It all hinges on one central idea, what the book calls the pre-orgasmic principle. And this concept, honestly, is what changes everything.
The key term you gotta know here is brahmacharya. Now, you might have heard this Sanskrit word before, and maybe you think it means celibacy, but the book offers a really different and crucial definition. It's not about abstinence. It's about the preservation and cultivation of your sexual energy. Think of it more like consciously managing your life force, your prana, not just shutting it down. And this is not some new age idea. It's ancient. There's a 4,000-year-old scripture, the Vigyan Bhairava, that puts it so poetically. It advises to avoid the embers at the end. The message is clear. Focus on the fire, the energy at the beginning of the experience, not the fizzled-out embers that are left after a climax. All right, so that's the big idea. The what and the why. But what about the how? How do you actually do this? Well, the source provides some very practical techniques, which it calls a stairway to heaven. So the main technique is called the hold back method. For partners, it's a really clear 4-step cycle. Step 1 is to engage. Step 2 is the most important part. You withdraw completely before orgasm is even close. The book really stresses this is not the same as edging. Step 3, you pause outside to kind of recharge and build up that staying power. And then step 4, you just repeat that cycle, and each time you try to gradually extend the duration. And look, the point here isn't to create endless frustration. Just the opposite. By cycling through that stimulation and pause, the experience just builds and builds into what the book calls a stairway to heaven, this incredible shared journey of rising ecstasy. Now, let's be real. This sounds challenging, right? The book totally gets that, so it offers some, you could say, training wheels to get you started. You can use the same holdback method in your solo practice to build control, and for men specifically, there's a blocking method, which involves manually pressing on the perineum during orgasm. The goal isn't just to stop ejaculation, it's to actually retrain your brain and shift your motivation away from climax being the only goal. And see, that's really the heart of it. All of these practices, they're designed to fundamentally shift the entire goal of sex. You're moving away from a single moment of release and toward a continuous practice of cultivation. You're literally transforming the experience from erotic to ecstatic. The book lays out this really stark comparison. On one side, you have the conventional genital orgasm, a transient peak, right? A release of energy that's biologically geared for reproduction. But on the other side, you have what it calls divine ecstasy. And that's described as an unending state, a regeneration of energy that, according to the book, is biologically oriented toward enlightenment. Now, divine ecstasy can sound a little abstract. I get it. So to make it more real, the book brings in this quote from the 19th century sage Ramakrishna. And wow, it is a vivid description. He said it's like having innumerable yonis in continual orgasm in every atom and pore of our body. It's a powerful image for sure. And it's meant to shift your idea of orgasm from one specific place to this continuous whole body state of being. So, where is all this going? What's the end game here? Where does this journey lead? The book calls the final destination the unending divine romance. And what's wild is that this final state, it's not even really about physical sex anymore. It's described as this constant inner lovemaking. It's the union of your own inner masculine and feminine energies, what the tradition calls Shiva and Shakti. The result is a permanent state of just unshakable inner silence, combined with this ecstatic bliss. And the love that you generate in this state, it doesn't stay inside, it just flows outward, serving everyone around you. So, after all that, the book leaves us with this one final, really provocative question that kind of flips everything on its head. What if the ultimate romance we're all searching for isn't out there with someone else, but is actually an internal one?